How you doing, guys? Welcome with quick and easy tech with another video in SQL Server integration services. So today we have part 13, how to load TXT CSV file or Excel files based on the file name and path that already saved in SQL Server table. So let's say I have multiple files here. I have let's say I have one CSV file, one Excel file, and then I want to load a couple of the text files, and the file path of the folder, the file path of the file path, and the name of the files, the entire name and extension. I supposed to have it. I want to load them, but those the file name and the file path supposed to save it in SQL Server table, and then I want to create a package, but I did not want to provide the file name and the path in SSIS package, because I want to get the file name and the path from the CSV from the SQL Server table. Let's say I'm gonna have so I have already created a table for the customers. They have ID, first name, last name, and state, and then I'm gonna create a new table here. I want to save the file path and the file name. I want to save the file path and the file name. So let's just create a table here. We're gonna create a table. I have ID integer, file name is gonna be varchar, is gonna be a non-Unicode string. And the same thing here, the length will be 200. Just going to create a table. So I create a table, just select it. So you have ID, file path, and file name. Now I want to, let's say I have okay, so let's say I want to save the Europe. Let's click on US. I want to save a couple of files from the US, customers US. Just copy the file path here, and then let's do insert statement. Insert into DBO. I want to have in a file name and paths here. There you go. So what do you want to insert? I'm going to insert the ID, and then I want to insert the file path, and then I want to insert the file name. Close parentheses. We're going to provide the values. So the value, so I want to have I want to have a 3 different IDs numbers. So I want to have for the text TXT file, I'm gonna have a ID number 1, and the CSV file ID number 2, and text file will be ID number 3. So I'll just close this down. So back again to SQL Server table here. So the first one, I want to provide ID number 1, and then comma, and then for the file path, I already saved the file path, just single quote, paste the file path, and then a single quote, and then comma. We have to enter now the file name. So let's say I want to save the file name of USA, this one here. I'm going to say the file name and extension. I want to load only this file. Back again here, and then paste it, open single quote, paste it, because this is string, we have to have a single quote, and then close parentheses. So now I'm going to save the ID. So this is the file path, and that's the file name for the TXT, and then I have an ID. Let's just do another insert here. So just gonna go back here, and then we're gonna have another insert here. I'm just gonna have another TXT file, and then it's gonna be the same path, and then they're gonna be the same ID. I just want to change the file name here. We got that. So now I want to have another insert statement. Let's say this time I want to have let's say the CSV file. I'm just going to copy the file path, and then we're just going to copy the file path here, guys. You have to get the backslash. You have to get the backslash after the USA. Get the backslash here. If you don't want to do the backslash, you can do it from the SSIS package. You can add plus, but it's going to be a double backslashes. So back again here. So I'm just going to have the file name here. This is going to be for the CSV file. So let's say this is for the CSV file here. So I'm going to change the ID name. I want to have every single file in CSV only belong to ID number 2. And then I'm going to do another insert statement for the Excel file. This is going to be the third one here. So this is going to be the same file path, but it's going to be a different name. So back again here, and then I'm going to choose the ID will be 3 for a. I'm going to tell you why I have different IDs. Why I don't care about the CSV file or the text file, because if you load both of them from the flat file will be okay, but if you have a flat file and trying to load the Excel, you're going to have a problem. So I'm going to name it, because I'm going to use a where clause with ID 3 to filter the file name. So I'm just going to copy the name here, paste the name. So okay, everything look good. So TXT, and then CSV, and then the text file, the Excel file. This is going to be the same ID and 2. You can have the here 1 and 3. So let's just insert it. Let's just execute this query. So just select it. We're going to select it. You see, guys, as you see, so I have the file path here, all the file paths here, and the file names here, and I have an ID. So what I want to do, I want to load only specific files from specific folder path and specific names. I do not want to load all the files here. Since I'm going to load two files from the USA, I do not want to load the Asia or Germany or UK, only the 2 USV files here. And also I want to load the Europe Excel file and the employee 1 CSV file. So now so I have the file path, and plus I have the file path here, and plus the file name saved in SQL Server table. So go back to Visual Studio, and then we have to create a new package. Right click and then create a new package. So we're gonna, so so guys, since I have multiple files here, so anyway you have to get a for each loop. I don't want to use the for loop because I don't know how many times I want to loop, so I'm gonna use the for each loop containers to loop through all the files. But in the for each loop container, when you're trying to configure it, you need to have a file path and plus the file name. You need to point the directory of the expression to a file path. I don't have a file path yet. And then I'm gonna get the name and extension, and then I want to save the file name and extension in the file path. But how can I do that? I need to get the file path and extension. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drag and drop the execute SQL task here. This is gonna give us, this is gonna pull the file path and extension and file path and file name from SQL Server, and then we're gonna get it from, we're gonna configure the for each loop, and then we're gonna get it from the execute task. So now just connect it, double click execute task. Now we have to set the connection. I have only DB destination. This is only DB destination, and then I'm gonna have the connection. I'm gonna set the new connection. I have a new connection. Let me just delete it. I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna show you how to create a new one. You have a server name. You have to get the server name back to SQL Server. Connect database engine. Copy it, or what are you gonna do here? You can just select the server name. Sorry. Server name. You can select the server name from here. copy the server name and then paste it in SSIS backup connection. Then for the database, you have to select the proper database, because if you go back to Visual Studio to SQL Server, I have SSIS test database, and then I wanted to load all the data. The data comes from the files. The rows comes from the files. I want to save all the files rows. I want to save all the rows to this kind of table. I have a customer tables. So I have SSIS test database and customers table. So go back again, and then you're going to select the SSIS test database, test connection succeeded, click OK, and then you click OK, and now for the direct input, we're going to use a select statement here, the SQL statement. How we're going to type a select statement here. Go back again. So now I need to have the file path and the file name. File path and the file name. So I have to do a select statement. I'm going to select only the file path and the file name. I'm not interested in an ID yet. So select. It is select from DBO. File path and names here. So back again. So I'm going to select. I'm going to select the file path. I want to have the file path here, and then I will select the file name. That's it. See that? Selecting the file path and the file name. So this is going to give us all the files, but we're going to have a problem with the Excel file, because we are going to use if we are going to use the for each the source folder, we're gonna drag and drop the data flow task, and then we're gonna use for the flat file. And then if you try to get the source, you get the Excel source from the flat file, you're gonna have a problem. So that's why we're gonna, for the Excel file, we're gonna have a different for each loop container and different execute task. Now let me show you this experiment now. So back again, double click here, paste the select statement. We are selecting the file path and file name from this table. Click OK. So now, since I have multiple columns, I have file path and file name, and I have multiple rows, so for the result set, I don't want to have the single row because I have multiple rows, so I have a full result set. And then you're going to save the whole result set. It's going to be the file path plus the file name inside a result set. Create a new one. We're going to set this to 0 because we do not have a multiple file set. If you have multiple file sets, it's going to go 1, and the second is going to be 2, and so on. So the first result set will be 0, and then we're going to create inside the variable. We don't have a variable. We're going to call it file path and name, but this time will be object, a job tag, and this is going to be for the flat file. So I'm going to call it the file path name object flat file, and then for the value, the data type will be object, because I have a multiple columns. I have a file path and file name, so it's going to be object. So click OK, and then click OK again. So we save. So we have object here. Variable is object. If you right click on the pan variables, we have object here. So go back to for each loop to configure it. Double click on it now. Collection, and there we're not interested in for each file enumerator. We're gonna change it to for each audio enumerator, because we're gonna get the full file path and file name object from the execute SQL task. Choose it here and then go to the variables. Now we have to create two variables. The first variable will be the file path. Why? If you go back again, we have the first select will be file path. let me show you here. This is going to be the file path, and the second will be a file name. So this is going to point to 0. This is going to be, so the index for the file path will be 0. The second index for the file name will be 1. Double click again, and then collection. We have to set this again. ADO for each loop. Select the object variable, and then we have to create 2 different variables. This is going to be the file path, and this is going to be string, and the second one will be a file name. File name. We're just going to call this a file name will be a flat file, in case if you are confusing flat file. So click OK, and the same way, so we're just gonna edit, modify the file name here. I'm just gonna add a flat file here. A file path is gonna be flat file. So back again, we have to remap again. So back again here, the variables is gonna be, so that's the file path. Now, so this is gonna, yeah. So what are we gonna do here? I'm just gonna create. I'm gonna select the file. I'm gonna reselect the file path flat file, but this is gonna be a 0. So this is gonna be. If you are confused, just delete, because since I create both of them, just reselect of them. So I have the file path. I set to 0, and then the file name file path. The flat file is gonna be 1. So the file path flat file, that comes from the flat file. I name it flat file because I'm gonna have a different variables belong to Excel. So that's the file path and the file name. Click OK. So we all good now. What we have to do, we have to drag and drop the data flow task, because we are going to load the data from the flat file to a SQL Server table. So drag and drop data flow task inside the for each loop container, and then we're gonna configure it. Double click inside, and then what do we have to do here? Since we have a flat file source, and then we have a OLEDB destination, so a drag and drop flat file source, and then I'm gonna drag and drop the OLEDB destination, and also I'm gonna drag and drop the data conversion, because the data conversion comes from the flat file. This is going to be a different. This is all string here, and in my database, so I have the customer. I have the ID integer, first name varchar, which is non-Unicode, and character, and the length 102. The same thing with Excel. So the best way, just connect all of them. Connect them, and then I will double click on the flat file source to configure it. We don't have a connection yet. Click new, browse. So now it doesn't matter, just click on any one of them. Even like, for example, we don't want to load customer German, just choose customer J. This is not going to do anything, because we are going to get the file path and the file name from the execute table, and then we're gonna get it. So we are extracting the object has file path and file name from execute, and then we convert it to the variable. So it doesn't matter here if you select on any one of them. Alright, it's okay. So just select any one of them. This is not gonna do anything. The column names in the first data row, yes, we have. If you double click, we have the first columns in. We have the columns in the first row. Back again here, and then columns advanced. We're not gonna do the data type. We're gonna use the data conversion. Preview it. Everything okay. Return nulls from this source. That's mean if you have a null here. If you don't have a US, you have empty space, we're gonna have a null in SQL Server table instead of having space. Back again, and then columns, everything is mapped. Click OK. We have to convert the data. Double click on data conversion. Select all of them. So now we're gonna get the ID will be integer. You can choose. I'm gonna choose a 4-byte sign integer, and string, this is 9 Unicode, 9 Unicode, we all okay. We're just gonna change the length here 100 because we're gonna have a truncation problem if you don't change it to. Click OK, double click on OLEDB destination, and then we're using the same connection. We are going to use the same connection, SSIS test database. We're just gonna change the name. We're just gonna select the folder, the table, which is I have customers table here. So choose customer table and then maps. Guys, we have to reselect the maps again. So why? Because the data conversion, after we convert the data, that's original column names come from the Excel file, from the flat file, and that's the output alias. That's the new, after we convert the data in data conversion, so we have a new output name. Is going to be copy of ID, first name, last name, and state. So back again here, maps, and then you can do it from here. Copy of the ID, copy of first name, copy of the last name, or you can do it from here. Copy of the state. So we're all good now. We're good to go. But now, if you run the package, since we have multiple tables, so we are going to loop a lot of times only on one file. So you're gonna have the same file, like for example 13, 14, 15, you're gonna have the same 13, 14, 15, you just keep looping on the same file. We want to loop only one time in each file, and only in specific folders and specific files only. So we need to loop one time, second time, third time, and fourth time only, and once in every single file. So go back again and see that the flat file connection. Right click on flat file connection, set click on the properties, and then if you see that the little dot, click on the expression and set the property to connection string. Click on the expression, and then we're going to build expression will be full file path. That's been a file path plus the file name. Forget about the object. We're not using the object anymore, so we are interested in the file path and plus the file name. Remember I told you, if you don't have the backslash here, you can add the backslash between plus double quote backslash and then a double quote. But since we have the backslash, we don't want it. So this is going to be the file path plus the file name. That's why they call it a full file path. Click OK, click OK. If we run the package now, what's going to happen? If you run the package, if you execute the package, just select the package. We don't have. You will get all the files that select has been. So you're gonna get the TXT file, and the CSV file, but you are not gonna get the Excel file. That's a different source. Because the CSV file and the text file, they call it a flat file. Excel file, we need to have a different source. See that? We have a different source here. Look, a different source. Let's run the package and see what happens. Run the package. The package has been successfully executed. Back again, selected. You see that, guys? So we got the US, and then we got this column name. So that's that's the CSV file, because I know that's the first. Let's just go back again. So I have a 2, so that's the first one will be 4 and 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you go back again here, just close this down. If you go back again here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then for the CSV file, you got 100, 200, and 100, 200, and 300 dots for the ID. See that? But did not give us this. Didn't get the Excel file. That's for the Europe, because as I said, it's because of the source file. So what do we have to do with the Excel file here? How can I do that? You can have a multiple. You can have 100 millions of TXT file or the CSV file, but for the Excel file you need to have a different data flow task and different for each loop and a different execute. We're gonna do the same process again. So back again here, we have to create a new for each loop container and execute it. We'll have to do it again here. So drag and drop the execute task here, double click on it, and the same way we're gonna choose the same connection. And then for the select statement, how we're gonna select the statement here? We're gonna select the statement only for the Excel file. So back again to SQL Server, and then let's just select the table here. So now, since I have the Excel file belong to ID number 3, that's why I have a unique ID with 3. So I'm gonna select the file path and the file name, the file path, and then the file name. But I'm gonna use a word class. I don't want to select all of them. See that I don't want to select all of them. I just want to select. I want to filter with the ID number 3. So I'm gonna select those where ID equal to 3. Selected. See that? So we have the Excel file has been selected. That's the path and that's the file name of the Excel file. So we have to copy this statement, select statement, and we have multiple columns, file path and file name. So we're gonna use a full result set. Back again, and then you're gonna paste it. Click OK. Now for the result set, we're gonna get the full result set, and then back again, result set. We're gonna create a new variable, a new object. So this is gonna be a 0, and then we're gonna create a new variable. We're gonna call it same way, file path and name object, but this is gonna be Excel file, and the value data type will be object. Again, click OK. Click OK. Now we have to drag and drop another for each loop container. We're gonna configure it, connect it, and then double click on for each container collection, and then we're gonna change the enumerator to the for each ADO enumerator, and then we're gonna select the object not from the flat file, the object that comes from the Excel file we just created. Flat file, file path and name object, Excel file here, and then we're gonna create another 2 variables, one for the file path, one for the file name. This is for the Excel. So back again here, select the ADO. We are selected. Variables. Now we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call this a file path. We're going to call this Excel. We know this is belong to the Excel file path Excel, and then the second one will be a file name, and this is going to be Excel also. So it's going to be click OK, click OK. Now we have to set the connection. So now we have to drag and drop the data flow task, because we are going to pull the data. Double click on data flow task, and then since we are going to get the Excel file, so we're going to use a Excel source, and also I'm going to convert the data. And for the destination, I'm going to use only DB destination. So just connect all of them, and then double click on Excel file source, and then we're going to create a new connection. Browse, navigate to the proper connection, and then we are selecting the Excel. It doesn't matter if you have even if you have multiple Excel files, it's going to be okay, because you are using for each loop. Selected, select, and then the first row has a column names. Yes, we have. So the first row is the column names here. So back again, click OK, and then we're going to select the sheet. We have only one sheet. If you go back here, we do not have a multiple sheet, we have only one sheet, only single sheet, so single file with a single sheet. So you're gonna go to columns, maps here, we're gonna convert the data. Again, select all of them, and for the ID, see that it's set on float, so we need to get the 4-byte sign integer. I can get a 2-sign integer, but I'm gonna have an integer. This is non-Unicode, I mean this is Unicode string. So, and my table, if you go back here, I have, this is varchar string, non-Unicode. So I want to convert it. I want to get this. I want to set to string. This is non-Unicode, and then for the length, 100, and then the state is going to be 2, and then I'm going to have a new output alias. So double click, and I'm just going to use the same connection. I'm going to use the same table. If you want to use a different table, you can choose a different table. I'm just going to use the same tables here, and then mappings. We have to remap again. First name, copy the last name, copy the states. We're done here. Back again, we have to set the connection. Remember, I told you you want to loop one time through for each file. You don't want to loop 10 or 25 or 5 times. It depends on how many times you want to loop on the same file. So back again on Excel Connection Manager, right click, property, and then in the expression, set up the property to the Excel file path, and then the expression, we're going to build the full file path. The full file path, don't forget, the file path, the full file path is going to be the Excel file path. This is, we are dealing with Excel file path, a plus Excel file name. So this is the file name for the Excel. See that? Flat file, file path Excel and file name Excel. Click OK, click OK. We're gonna have a problem with the data validation. Now we're gonna do, since you are on this pan here, set the delay validation to true, and then click on the data flow task, right click, and then set the delay validation to true also. So now, for example, if we want to run the package, let's just clear the data. Truncate the data. You can delete it again. We don't have the data inside the table. Let's run the package and see what happens now. You see, did you see what was the problem here? I tell you what was the problem. I knew there is a problem here. If you go to progress and then try to debug, what was the problem? The problem with started the connection cannot open. You see that? So the problem with the connection, because let me show you here. Go back again. The flat file process cannot access because it's you see that the warning, the process. Let me just copy this. Let me show you here what was the problem. So see that the flat file source try to, because see that the flat file source warning cannot access the file because it's been used by another process. Why? Because most of the containers, they are going to the same file path here, same file path, and they are pulling the data from they are using the file path and the file name from the Excel, from SQL Server at the same time. So I don't want to load, I don't want to execute both of them at the same time. I want to load this container first and then the second container. Stop the package. You just need to connect it only, that's it. So I want to run this execute, and then this table, load the data from the flat file, and then after it's done, go to the Excel file. Let's just go back again and just connect, truncate the table. We don't have data anymore. We're just gonna execute the package. We want to load this first and this first. execute the package. Did you see that? You see that? This is executed first, and then the second, that's for the flat file, and then the second for the Excel file. Stop debugging, back again, select, execute the package. Look. Now, as you can see, we have 12 rows here. We have all this comes from the flat file. So this is 3 from flat file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from flat file, and then from the text file, and then this comes from the CSV, and that's the Europe. Remember I told you the Europe. This comes from the Excel file. If you go back again, see that Europe 11, 12, 11, 22, 22, and 33. See that 11, 22, and 33. So we run the packages now successful. If you want to load, you can have another insert statement here. Like for example, I'm just going to show you here. So for example, I want to load one file from Germany, right? I have a multiple. Let's just go and select different ones. Let's say UK. Okay, let's just select AD. Let's say you're gonna have a different tables. I have multiple tables here. Let's say I have a different tables here. So I want to select only this file from this specific folder. So what I have to do, copy the path, and then back again to SQL Server table, and then we're gonna do another select statement here. Select statement here. Insert statement, sorry. So you're gonna copy the file path here from here, and then we're gonna paste it. We're gonna change the file path, keep the backslash, and then we are interested in different file names. Let's say I'm gonna have this one here. I wanna get this. So we're gonna change the file name here, the name of the file. And then for the ID, don't get the ID here because you're gonna have a confliction again. This ID is supposed to be, because if you are, we are filtered the ID here. If you select it, so what's gonna happen here? This package try to execute this file also, the flat file, because we use your work class. So if you select this one, we're gonna have the Excel file plus this file. Just change it to ID number 1, ID number 3 just doesn't matter. Let's say anything, it doesn't matter now for this scenario. So execute now. So let's go back and select the tables here. See that? So we have a new, it doesn't matter now, but it's matter for ID number 3, not matter for those. Because in the SSIS we are selecting all of them. We didn't filter, but in for the Excel file we did filter. We use a where class where ID, we specify the ID name. So now what's gonna happen? Let's just go back again and truncate the table. Let's go back again for the table. Let's see what we have here. So we have 13, 14, 15. We have age. Let's back again to SSIS and then execute the package. See, the package has been successfully executed, and then back again you're gonna select it. We're gonna select the statement. See that? Well, let me see what happened here. Everything, and plus I have age 13, 14, 15. See that? We have up to 15 rows now. So now, if you want, we're all done now. Thank you very much. But if you want like another bonus, you can add the script task also. If you want to add the script task, guys, for example, if you want to use the script task here, you want to see the file name and path in like a pop-up menu. So what you're gonna do is drag and drop the script task here, and then drag and drop another script task here for an Excel file. And then let's just double click on the first, and then if you know how you code in Visual Basic, I'm going to use the C# here. we're gonna select the variable. So I'm interested here the variable for the file path name and file path and file name. So here gonna select, this is a file path for the this is a file path for the flat file, and this is the file name for the flat file. We're not interested for the Excel so far, not yet. So click here, and then you can just save it. Because you're gonna use this inside the script, copy it and just save it in like a notepad, and then edit script. So you're just gonna type script here. You're gonna have a message box dot show. We're gonna have a open parentheses, and then we're gonna have a DTS. Sorry, what is that? Then we're gonna have a DTS dot variables. We're gonna have an open bracket, open square bracket, and then we're gonna have so now we're gonna paste. Let's say I wanna see the file. I wanna see the file path first. We have to have a double quote here, and then paste it. That's the variable name, and then a double quote, close square bracket, and then that value to string, open parentheses, close parentheses, and then a semicolon. So we're going to do the same way. We're just going to copy the entire script here. We're just going to change the value. We're just going to change the variable name. So this time we're going to have the file path. That's the file name now. Change it. That's the file name. So now build it. So build succeeded. Save it. Close it, and then guys, we're just gonna do the same way here for the Excel file. So we're just gonna copy the same script since we are closing it, and then click OK. So now we're gonna set for the Excel file. Double click on the script task. We're gonna select the Excel file, file path and file name. So this is the file name for the Excel, the variable, and then that's the Excel, the file path. Click OK, edit script. I forgot to save the, sorry, 1 second. Okay, let's just copy this statement here. Okay, just close it down. We're just gonna copy the variable names here. So paste it, and then edit script, and then we're gonna add the script here. It's gonna be a message box the same way here. I don't have to type the entire script here, and we're gonna change the file name. We're gonna change the variable name. So I want to see the file path first for the Excel. And then I want to have another message box for the name, for the Excel name. Copy the variable name for the Excel, and then paste it between the two double quotes. Just build it, build succeeded, save it, and then close it. We don't want this anymore. Click OK. Let's just go back again and check out the table. Make sure we don't have table now, so we don't have a data inside the table. So now execute the package and look what's gonna happen. See that? So that's the first file name. That's the first the first file path. If you go back here, you see that? Try to get the USA. That's the file path, USA. If you click OK, that's the first file. That's the file here. See that? And then it's going to be the second file path. We're using the same file path. And then it's going to be the second file here. See that? 15. That's 15, and then it's going to go back to the CSV file. Here it's going to be a different file path. If you can see that, let's maximize this here. So let me just show you here. So you see that? So that's this one here. That's the file path. Now it's gonna try to get the CSV file. We got the CSV file here. That's the CSV file, and then try to get the file for the Excel, but we didn't load it. That's for the Excel. It didn't load it. You know why? If you click back here, it didn't load it. It keep loading but didn't load it. You see that? And then just click OK. So now what's gonna happen? We got all the data now to go to 16. That's the 16. That's the flat file. That's the new CSV file. No, the new text file from a different file path. So back again, click OK. Now it went down to the Excel section. Now the Excel section, we have Excel section. We have only this is the file path here. That's the file path, and it's gonna try to get this file name here. You see that? Customers Europe .xlsx here. So back again, click OK. We're all done. The package has been successfully executed. Stop the package. Back again to SQL Server table. We're gonna execute the statement. See that here? We have 15 rows. We have Asia, US, Europe, and we have the CSV file. See that? That's CSV file, flat file. No, sorry, that's text file from a different folder, different file path. That's the flat file, TXT file, CSV file, and that the Excel file. And this is the text file from the same file path here. Thank you very much, guys, and have a nice day.